Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, episode 112. In this episode, I reflect on the EdTech Throwdown, Teach Happier, X Factor, Level Up Your Mental Game, Smile Factor, and Steph and Joe on the go. And I talk about some other things going on with me. All right, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. Share with a friend. And without further ado, episode 212, Fresh Air at 5.
This is Jeremy Jorgensen, host of the Edify podcast, proud member of the Education Podcast Network. Each show on the network is independently owned, and the views expressed may not represent those of other podcasts. For the best education podcasts, visit edupodcastnetwork.com.
Welcome to Fresh Air at 5, the podcast. I'm your host, Brian Carpenter, coming to you every week from Abbotsford, which is about 45 minutes east of Vancouver, British Columbia, on the west coast of Canada. Fresh Air at 5 is my regular attempt to get some fresh air by walking about my neighborhood, which is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Stolo people, the Simath First Nation and Mathwee First Nation. I consume podcast content while I walk, then reflect on this content in an unedited video, which I post on my X, formerly known as Twitter, channel every day. This podcast is the collection of the audio taken from those daily selfie videos over the course of a week, Monday to Friday. So let's jump into my listening and learning this past week. Hey, PLN, it's April 8, 2025. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Pouring rain outside. I'm staying in. And it's Tuesday. So yesterday, where was I? I was up at Sun Peaks, British Columbia, which is north of Kamloops, BC, about 4 hours from where I live here. And we had a MyPETA PSA writing retreat. So there was 14 of us that gathered from our Teachers Association, and we worked on some content for our MyPETA newsletter that goes out to our members here in British Columbia. Every 3 months or so, we worked on content for that and other projects that we need to work on. So it was a great weekend away of community and collaboration with my colleagues that are on the executive and some other writers that joined us. And so, yes, that's where I was. It was great. I was able to enjoy some time, get some work done on some committee work that is volunteer work and work that I do as a volunteer with other volunteers. All right, this morning I listened to episode 187 of the EdTech Throwdown with Eric Geis and Nick Johnson. They're the ones that run the podcast, and this is an episode where we don't hear Eric's voice at all because he was away from the mic as he lost his voice. The first time in probably any episode that I've listened to of this, and this is what Nick says, that they haven't both been together on an episode. Episode 187, 10 tips for using AI in your classroom, and each of them take on 5 different tips. This comes out of a presentation that they gave at NJECC conference recently in New Jersey, and Nick presents his first 5 tips, and then Eric will come back in the next episode and share his. So Nick talks about acceptable use posters and how we should have guidelines for that for our students. Google Workflow with revision history, animated drawings, battle AI over reliance, and then prompt collection. So these are 5 things that he talks about. You should take a listen for yourself to episode 187 of EdTech Throwdown. All right, talk to you soon. Bye. All right, the last thing for April 8, 2025, play hard, stay tough, and never quit is the title of episode 67 of Level Up Your Mental Game, X Factor with Brian Martin. And Brian, thank you so much for your thoughts as you review the recent competition between Duke and Houston during the Final Four. And you talked about the fact that Houston got down by double digits in that game, and they came back, and it was like an epic comeback. I'm not a basketball guy, but the lessons you talk about here is what I can relate to. You talked about, when it gets tough, how we have to have our head in the game, our mental toughness is super important, that we stay in the game and we don't give up before it's over, because you don't know what's going to happen. Working hard is super important, that we need to keep working on our problem and not quitting. And, it's about the discipline before you get to the challenges is important. Have you got the disciplines to be able to face hard things that are going on in your life? All right, applies to more than just basketball. It applies more than just the sports teams. It applies to all of us. So thank you, Brad, for a message to all of us on X Factor Level Up Your Mental Game, episode 67. Hey, PLN, it's April 10, 2025, and good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Coming to you from the playground here at school. Getting ready to take an all-school photo. We have 2 days school, 2 different days of school with different groups of kids, and I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to blend them together to make a one school photo. So that's what we do here. All right, yesterday I didn't record an episode here, a segment, but I did listen to in the morning. I listened to Smile Factor, Season 2, Episode 25 with Dr. Matthew X. Joseph and Lori Guion as they talked with longtime educator and innovator Dan Thomas out of Jamestown, New York. And Dan is a big proponent of Legoing in his maker space, in a classroom space, and how you can use Lego to dig at so many different things throughout students' life, from when they're little all the way to when they're big. We've got Lego Mindstorms here, so my buddy here at school, he plays with Lego, and that's pretty fantastic how such a simple thing can be so useful because it's clean. I mean, it hurts your feet, but if you step on it. So yes, take a listen to this. They talk about a little bit of ed tech, not much here, but SMILE is an acronym that I can't remember exactly. And this is a new to me podcast. So this is new to my library. Thank you so much, Matthew and Lori, for sharing your thoughts. I will listen on in the future. Thank you, Dan, for your work you're doing and the impact you're having in students' lives and educators' lives. All right, take care. The last thing for April 10, 2025, I listened to Teach Happier this morning with Suzanne Daly, Season 5, likely episode 31, maybe, or 30. I didn't catch that before I got over here to the camera. This is called 7 Words to Brighten Someone's Day. And Suzanne talks about how we can brighten someone's day by using 7 simple words, by connecting something that we experience with someone else. And those words are, when I heard this, I thought of you. And you could change that word heard to see, I saw this, or I thought this, or I listened to this, and I thought of you. Change the verb that's in there. And it's a way to have it like a prompt conversation starter with someone else in your space. She challenges us to try this every day for a while and see how it goes. So when you see that meme that you're just going to shoot off to your friend, hey, put in the front of it, I saw this and I thought of you. And then they'll be like, I wonder why you thought of me. So that's a little bit of encouragement for us this morning. Appreciate it. And thank you, Suzanne. I appreciate the work that you do. You make a difference in this guy's life here in Canada, and hope things are well with you over in New York. Okay, bye. Hey, PLN, it's Friday, April 11, 2025, out on a beautiful, sunny Friday afternoon for an afternoon walk just before 5 p.m. All right, as I'm walking with my wife, she's over there, but she doesn't want to talk on here. I listened to Steph and Joe on the Go from today, that dropped today, where Joe Marquez and Stephanie Howell, they talked to us about technique over technology, and how we can focus so much on the shiny tool, but forget about the pedagogy that goes along with it. So it's really important that we have our pedagogy in order so that we can talk about the technique we're getting to and trying to accomplish, as opposed to where are the buttons in this tool. Yes, it's important that we know our tools so that we can efficiently and effectively use them, but if we don't know what we're trying to accomplish, then it's just another tool that we are trying to figure out how to use to do other things maybe. All right, so that being said, Adobe Express, I'm a big fan of Adobe Express, and I've been using it for a long time, and I've taught my students how to do that. But then they change up their menus and move things around, and the students get agitated, and I'm like, well, you guys know what you're trying to accomplish. Go look for where that is and how to accomplish that within this. That's one example within a tool that does change things up, and we have to know what we're trying to accomplish. Then that becomes transferable skills into other things like PowerPoint and Google Drawings and Canva. So if I jumped into Canva with my students, they could get going and figure out what to do, as well as all the new fancy things that isn't in Adobe Express, but Adobe Express has some things that Canva can't do. So I think it gets down to having a design thinking conversation as tech coaches with our teachers that we're trying to serve about figuring out what they're trying to accomplish. What is their problem that we can design a technology integration around, and then work with them until they are walking on their own. All right, thanks guys. Have a fabulous Friday. Bye.
I appreciate you giving me a listen as I've created this podcast experience for you. It's like a unique Blinkist or Coles Notes version of the content I take in, like a highlight reel, so that you can hopefully find some other interesting podcasts you may not have considered before. I've recorded the specific episode podcast titles and episode numbers in the show notes, which are only a click or swipe away for your learning convenience. I've also started to put together a Spotify playlist of each of the episodes so that you can also take a listen to those specifically, and the link to that playlist is in the show notes. Please subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. And if you enjoy this podcast and its format, share it with someone else. You can also follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Brian Carr, BRYONCAR, or at Fresh Air at 5. Tweet about your experience or give it a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Fresh Air at 5 can be found on the Educational Podcast Network. Podcasts for educators, podcasts by educators. I hope you have a fantastic day. Get some fresh air before the day is out and take care of yourself, because you are worth it.